Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to PSE's Stock Market Webinar. I'm John Garcia from the PSE's Market Education Department. We're glad to have you with us. So in our previous webinars, we have talked about how you can get started in the stock market, how to be an informed investor through disclosures, investing during the pandemic, what it takes to start your investment journey in these extraordinary times. We even talked about trading strategies. So today we will talk about, we'll take a broader perspective of how you can benefit in the stock market by asking the question, which is better, trading or investing? So we have invited our resource speakers who are both analysts in the financial markets for their take on this question. So we will be discussing about their specialization, their analysis methodologies, and also a little bit about their careers, and more importantly, ano bang mas gusto nila? Trading or investing? All right. So please note that the discussion this afternoon is for educational and informational purposes only. This should not be construed as a professional, financial, or investment advice or recommendation from the PSE. So for today's session, we have invited a pair of panelists. They hold analyst and trading roles from an investment house and a brokerage firm here in the Philippines. So let's now get right to introducing our guests who will be sharing their insights on how we can maximize our returns from our investment. So let's start with our first panelist. So our first panelist serves as the head of research for Unicapital Securities, Inc., and is responsible for the coverage of the banking and consumer sectors. He writes and publishes reports for both traditional and online clients. He graduated from the University of Santo Tomas with a degree in management accounting and also passed the Chartered Financial Analyst Level 1 exam of the CFA Institute. He has more than 4 years of sell-side equity research, and prior to joining Unicapital, he served as an equity research analyst for UCPB Securities and an investment analyst for FYAP Securities. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Mr. Justin Tembrevilla. Good afternoon, Justin.
Hi, good afternoon, John. Thanks for the warm introduction.
And of course, thank you for joining us this afternoon. Kindly give us a background of your role in Unicapital Securities. So ano ba ang ginagawa ng isang head of research for a stock brokerage firm?
So as head of research, I manage a team of 2 analysts that cover, overall we cover around 36 stocks listed in the PSE. And of course, there are also tasks such as we do morning meeting. It used to be face-to-face with the salespeople. But of course, we also integrate now itong mga Zoom. So we use that during a morning meeting. And we also publish daily newsletter to our clients. And the meat of our job really is we do financial modeling and then integrate it into our company reports so that we can guide and assist our clients in coming up with financial decisions.
Okay, so parang in a nutshell, the research department's one of your major roles in the firm is to really provide idea generation for your clients and even for your salespeople. Ano bang stocks ang magandang bilhin? Ano bang stocks ang teka, iwas muna tayo? Or anong stocks ang if you have it, you should keep on holding on to that stock. Tama ba, Justin?
Yeah, exactly, John.
Perfect. Okay, so stick around, Justin. I mean, we want to know more about what you do at U-Trade and of course, your insights on our topic. But let me introduce our second resource speaker first. So to complete our set of panelists, allow me to introduce our next resource speaker. So our second panelist has been in the stock market industry for 13 years. He graduated with a degree in agricultural economics from the University of the Philippines, Los Baños. He took up the PSE Certified Security Specialist course. Produkto pala siya ng ating CSS program, from the Ateneo Center of Continuing Education, and is also a SEC Certified Securities Representative. So he started out as a research analyst too, became the head of research department, and eventually became one of the top stock brokers and traders in his firm, AP Securities Inc. So he has also been a guest speaker in a number of local and international conferences. He has spoken in investment conferences in London, Barcelona, Dubai, and Bangkok. So let's say good afternoon to Mr. Jacob Yedra. Good afternoon, Jacob.
Hello, good afternoon, John, and thank you for inviting me. Thank you, PSE, and good afternoon to everyone.
Okay, so we're glad to have you with us, Jacob. So first, give us an overview of what you do for Axe Capital. I mean, AP Securities.
So basically, I'm a stockbroker. So for me naman, I've been working from home even before the pandemic. I have my own trading terminal here. I have an assistant in the office. And basically what I handle is I handle some institutional accounts, and then but mostly high net worth individuals who are. I'm a traditional broker. We do have an online platform, but me myself, I'm the one you call, or now Viber when you wanna place some orders.
Okay, so when you say traditional broker, you're the guy that the clients call, di ba? You
Yes.
mentioned earlier you handle only institutional clients, tama ba?
No. Some institutional clients, but bulk of my clients are, the high net worth individuals or market players, market veterans, mostly.
Okay, understood. So say for example, in your brokerage firm, you not only cater to retail because you have online, you also have institutional clients and high net worth individuals, which are being handled by stock traders like you, Jacob.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. O sige, very interesting, no? We have someone from the research and also someone from sales joining us this afternoon. So let's bring back on screen our first panelist, si Justin, and let's move on to our main segment this afternoon. We will be talking about our hot topic, trading versus investing. Ano ba talaga mas maganda? Okay, but before we hear the answers of our panelists to the hot topic question, let's understand first what or the concept of trading and investing. So investing roughly means that you're in it for the long haul. So you see, guys, in the stock market in general, no, you put your money in stocks, you invest your money in stocks as long as they're good companies. In general, over the long term, the value increases. Okay, so that's what investing does for you. So as the investment generally tend to go up, so it's simpler, but getting your returns might take some more time, ano? So kung ikaw naman yung medyo mainipin, impatient type, then trading might be the way for you to go. Yun nga lang, it's a bit trickier than investing. So anyway, let's have our guests answer today's hot topic question. So in general, which method do you prefer? So let's start with Justin.
Yeah, thanks, John. So initially kasi as research part of the research team, we suggest clients to invest. As you mentioned, this is for the long haul. And when we have recommendation naman for a certain stock to buy, hold, or sell, ang time frame niyan usually 12 months eh. So we advise clients to perform what yung recommendation namin. And then if there are certain changes, we adjust naman yung recommendation. Let's say okay yung performance sa isang stock, I think we can adjust the stock price for the recommendation. We can adjust it up, or pag nag-underperform yung stock relative to the market, we also sometimes downgrade the stock price and even the recommendation from buy to sometimes hold, or kung hold man, maybe we can give it a sell recommendation. Pero we also advise clients na if ang target return nila is medyo mababa lang because they're conservative, let's say 10% lang yung target nila for that stock, and then achieve naman in a span of 1 to 2 months, and satisfied na sila sa gain na yon, we can also advise them na to unload na and realize those profits.
Okay, so Justin is saying that it's good to invest following a good research. Ano? So that's why stock brokerage firms, they have research departments. So they do this service for their clients. Na they crunch the numbers, they go through the reports, the financial reports to come up with recommendations. And kanina, Justin, you said meron kang time span 12 months. What does that mean? 12 months ba is enough to say na say bumili ka ng stock and you've held it for 12 months is already considered investing or still trading?
Yeah, I think it belongs to investing na yung ganong time frame.
Okay, sige. So let's now hear naman, so investing si Justin, more on investing. Let's now hear naman si Jacob. So Jacob, which method do you prefer, trading or investing?
Well, I do both, but I prefer trading over investing. So there are, kasi it really depends and there are even stocks that is more for investing, like there's a stock that I held for 5 years because at that time it was very undervalued, and then dividend yield is 14%, and then capital gains about 100+%. I hold on to that stock, but that's not my usual. I prefer trading, but I'm not a day trader. I cannot do trading in a day. I'm also not really swing trading. So maraming klase yan and I'm more of a position trading, yung weeks to months. Kasi
Okay,
my method is mostly trend following and classical technical analysis to determine which stocks that but I also apply my experience in fundamental analysis. Konti na lang, hindi na kagaya ng dati. Hindi kagaya ni Justin. Konti na lang, konti.
Oh, okay. So very interesting, two different ends of the spectrum, insights from an investment point of view and also from a trading perspective. But may mga nakikita na akong hints dito na it's also possible to have a combination of both. But before we even start to talk about coming up with a strategy that suits your personality, let's first understand what it means to invest, and also let's talk about trading as well in detail. So let's start with investing first. Justin, what kinds of return can an investor expect when it comes to investing? Kanina may na-mention si Jacob na capital gains, dividend yield. Can you expound on these concepts?
Yeah, exactly. There are two ways to earn in the stock market, no? First is through capital appreciation. So ito yung basic rule of thumb. Buy low and then sell high. And then what affects the price or paano aangat yung share price is of course yung strong demand for the stock. So whether blue chip yan or speculative, pag mataas talaga yung demand for that stock, ang tendency is the price for it to go up. But of course, pag medyo mababa na yung demand and yung mga investors, hindi na nila nakikita yung value for that stock, ang tendency naman is the price to go down. And another reason for capital appreciation is positive earnings surprise for the companies that are listed in PSE. So every quarter, these companies report their performance, and it's up for us analysts to digest if may positive earnings surprise. For example, may isang company na they earned 10% for second quarter. So maybe an ordinary or a beginner investor would gauge it as a good results. But for us analysts, ang nakita namin initially is it could have earned 30% more. So yung result na 10% growth is not really a positive earnings surprise. But let's say on that same quarter, it earned 50%. Yun, positive earnings surprise yun. So magre-reflect yun sa share price ng company na yun. And I think last for capital appreciation is announcement of new product or development for a company. Of course, ang initial reaction would be it could produce better sales for the upcoming years once successful yung introduction of product na yun. And then moving now to another way to earn it in the stock market is, of course, through dividends. These are the earnings that are not reinvested but distributed to the shareholders. And it can be in various forms. Ang most common is cash dividends. It can also be through stock dividends, and sometimes can be property dividends. Just recently, I think ang recent example here is yung PNB. They announced property dividends of another company, which is PNB Holdings Corp. So if you want to be familiar with property dividends, yun yung example. And ang impact naman ng dividends is, it is a sign that companies' strength and positive expectations for future earnings. For the companies listed in PSE, yung sa mga meron na exposure sa market natin, they can mapapansin nila na yung companies that are generous in giving out dividends is yung mga utility sector, those involved in telco, power, and water. So if kung investor ka and you're quite new in the market, para hindi ka mahirapan mag-decide, you might want to check yung dividend yields ng mga companies under the utility sector, and you can see dividend yields could range around 4 to 6%. And may bago rin actually, ito yung mga REITs na ang main purpose is to distribute 90% of their earnings as dividends. So yeah.
Oh, very interesting, ano? And also maganda na rin na sinabi mo yung dividend feature ng REITs kasi especially for the investors na very familiar sila with real estate business, no, generating cash flows from real estate. And we all know that owning a real estate is very expensive, so you may want to think of investing in REITs. But we'll talk more about REITs in a while. So Justin, kanina, no, ang nakuha ko dun sa ini-explain mong example. So depende dun sa performance ng company. So if it meets expectations or surpasses expectation, then ang resulta is stock prices, they go up.
Yes, exactly.
Then in that case, when the stock price goes up, stronger stock price, and you were able to buy before the stock price movement, then may chance ang kumita yung investment mo through the first way of making money, which is price appreciation. Yung when you bought at a lower price and then tumaas siya eventually. Well, whereas doon naman sa dividend side, if they are continuously earning, palagi sing maganda yung profitability ng kumpanya, then regularly or every year nakakapag-distribute sila ng dividends sa kanilang mga shareholders. Kanina, Jacob, you said that while you're more of a trader now, or probably most of your life, no, most of your 13 years in the industry, you're more on trading than investing. Pero may hinawakan ka na stock for 5 years eh. And you said that hinawakan mo siya because at the time you really thought that the stock was undervalued when you bought it, and it had good dividends. So what were your what were the factors that you considered in deciding na ito medyo medyo for keeps ito, medyo pang relationship goals itong stock na to?
Actually, when at that time kasi I was doing a screener, like I was just curious kung ano yung nagbibigay ng highest dividend hits in the entire PSE. And then based on my screen, siya yung lumabas. So, tinignan ko lang ng konti. Like, well, it's a utility company. It's a power company.
Mm-hmm.
It's just below the radar. And then, mukhang solid naman yung business model. And then, it was really undervalued. And then, price to book, PE mababa. And then, ang taas ng dividend yield. And it's in a defensive sector. So, sabi ko, 14% a year? Why not, diba?
Mm-hmm.
So, and then may potential ka pa for capital appreciation. So that stock parang I got in at about 4, tapos now it's about mga 11 pesos something. So okay na rin, not bad. So that's for the investing part.
So you mentioned price to book, PE. Can you share a little bit of more details on what these things are? To explain it in a layman's term, kahit sa Tagalog, ano ba ang price to book? Ano ba yung PE? Palagi naririnig ng mga investors.
Ako yung trader pero I think it's sa forte ni Justin yan. But basically, PE is price to earning, how much peso you are willing to pay for the earnings of the company. And price to book is the book value of the company. And typically, ang common knowledge is the lower the PE, the better. But in trading kasi, hindi din siya ganon. Like, sometimes high PE stocks tend to, go faster kasi sila yung may momentum.
Understood. babalikan kita mamaya, Jacob, pag nandun na tayo sa trading. Pero steady ka lang dyan kasi baka from time to time
Sige.
magtanong ako sa'yo about investing. Justin, ano ba ang when you look at price to book or PE ratios, do you just look at a particular company or do you compare them with peers or say the industry? How do you do the analysis? Say if you are to teach an investor, a first-time investor, paano ba siya dapat tumingin sa mga yan?
Yeah, so as much as possible, we want an apples-to-apples comparison. No? For example, you want to compare the PE of a retail or consumer company. Of course, ibabangga mo siya sa another retail or consumer-based company. But of course, you have to consider as well yung earnings nila. Particularly in 2020, some companies incurred net losses. But for PE kasi, hindi siya, it's actually worthless pag yung company na yon incurred net loss because looking at the denominator of PE, it's EPS or earnings per share. So you can divide the number with a negative number. So tanggal agad yung PE sa mga companies na negative yung earnings for that year. So kung if you were to make a screener, then you can choose another option. For example, price to book naman. For other sectors kasi, yung PE hindi rin siya ganun ka efficient in giving out or doing a peer evaluation. For example, for banks, mas ginagamit yung price to book kasi if titingnan mo yung assets ng banks, most of it are financial assets in the form of investments, loans, which are valued, which are meron yung fair market value. So looking at PE alone would not suffice a good comparison. Let's say PE ni BDO kay BPI or kay Metrobank. Metrobank historically tends to have low price multiples. So kung PE yung basehan, medyo malilito yung new investor. But as Jacob mentioned, yun nga, ang basic indicator would be low price to multiples suggest that a stock is undervalued. So mas malaki yung potential for the stock to realize its upside potential.
Okay, so parang in general, the lower the PE compared to its peers, the better, but not every time.
Yes,
not all the time. That's not actually PE is not an accurate indicator of returns if you're gonna base your investment decisions based on PE.
Okay, so with that, Jacob, ano ba ang mga investing strategies na mare-recommend mo? I mean, how about looking at personal beliefs? Kasi like ikaw, no, tinignan mo, utility company, solid naman ang business model. May ganyan bang factor din na dapat kino-consider ang investor?
Yes, definitely, of course. At the time lang kasi I think during that time the market was sideways. And if the market was sideways, wala kang masyado na generate na returns. So a 14% dividend cash dividend yield is very attractive in a flat market and you have 14% cash dividends, diba? So that was very attractive at that time. So actually hindi talaga ako nung super in-depth analysis, just tiningnan ko lang defensive stock, ang baba nung walang masyado nakakapansin. That's it.
When you say defensive
stock, look
stock,
at the chart. It's a power company kasi. It's a power company. So
ang ibig sabihin ng defensive is good or bad times ang negosyo niya would be generating income.
Defensive company, yes. Yeah. Actually, but iba pa pala yung defensive stock if we want to be more technical. Magkaiba yung defensive company pa sa defensive stock.
Oh, okay. Then what's the difference?
Defensive company, diba? The defensive stock is hindi siya masyadong for example, bumabagsak. Even kumbaga halimbawa pag ganyan na lahat tapos siya parang relatively ganun lang.
Okay. So, yan sa stock.
Sa stock, yes.
So
but a company, a defensive industry, and a defensive company is that's the business side. That's the fundamental side ni Justin yan.
All right. How about you, Justin? What are your thoughts about investing in the right idea? Like, for example, right now, very matunog yung mga sustainable business, renewable clean energy, or probably if you're the investor or you think you try to look for the next big thing or see if any of these companies are working on being at the forefront of the next big thing. Would you think this is a good investment strategy as well? Looking at prospective business opportunities.
Yeah, glad that you pointed out that, John, no, yung some investors are looking into these renewables because for the longest time, I think yung mga top power players natin, ang portfolio kasi nila are mostly in coal-fired power plants, gas and diesel-fired power plants, but they're slowly shifting into renewables, which is good. And I think even some of the banks meron ng parang mandate na they only lend their money to those companies that are really into clean energy. And yeah, I think investor has the option to choose his own beliefs. But what we also advise pag may clients kami na gusto mag-invest, pag napapansin namin medyo malaki yung exposure niya sa isang sector. For example, he bought a banking stock, kunwari BDO, then the next order, ang in-order naman niya is BPI. Then the next order, gusto naman niya magkaroon ng mid-sized bank, let's say Security Bank or East West Bank. Pag mga ganong pinapayuhan na namin yung investor na, ma'am or sir, I think you're quite overexposed in one sector. You might want to diversify it a bit para lalo na ngayon yung economy natin are still reeling from the impact of the pandemic. So there could still be some aftershocks, especially if nag-spike ulit yung cases. And we know how banks quite underperformed last year because of higher non-performing loans ratio. So may tendency na if you're an investor and you're overexposed in one sector, may risk na you might lose a bigger portion of your portfolio when stocks decline. But it's good to integrate those evolving beliefs in the sustainable side, even yung companies that you think that are really doing their job in not just increasing their profits, but also doing what's good for the economy and for the industry.
I like that you mentioned the concept of diversification. If you can share some more insights about diversification, ano ba ang magandang diversified portfolio? How should the portfolio be composed? In your opinion, Justin?
In my opinion, I would like to base sa response ng mga participants natin sa poll. So they have moderate personality.
Mm-hmm.
So also they have a basic understanding in the stock market, in the
financial markets.
Financial markets. So maybe they have quite a balanced risk-return profile or risk appetite. So for me, I'd like to suggest investing in equities, maybe 40 to 50%, then quite good portion in fixed income, or if they want better return, yung UITFs or mutual funds, good 30%, then always reserve some cash because markets are still volatile at this moment. So you might want to capture the opportunities if may buying opportunities for the market to dip.
Ayun. So, ang ganda nung nung insight na binigay ni Justin. Bago siya sumagot, I asked him about his opinion. Ano ba ang magandang portfolio? Paano ba magandang the concept of diversifying your investment? How should you build your portfolio? Sumagot si Justin based doon sa mga nakuha nating responses from our audience. What does it say about that answer? It's about investor personality. So ano bang klaseng personality meron ka as an investor? How much risk are you willing to tolerate? Then you can determine, of course, with the advice of your friendly stockbroker like Jacob Yedra or your research analyst like Justin, kung paano mo mabubuo ang iyong portfolio for the long-term investing. Okay, now let's go to the concept of long-term investing. So when we say long-term investing, how do you determine which stocks are good to buy for long-term investing? Justin, una sa lahat, can you define ano ba ang long-term investing? How many years does it take to be considered that is indeed a long-term investment?
For me, I think long-term starts at least 1 year holding period. Then can go as long as you want. As Jacob said, may hinawakan siyang stock for 5 years. Of course, long-term yon. And kung hawak niya pa yun and he still believes that the stock has potential since power siya, if yung company na yun it can increase its annual capacity. So yeah, that's good for the longer run pa. So yeah, for me, 1 year minimum holding period constitutes long-term investing.
All right. And how do you determine which stock, yung mga basic points sa tinitignan mo? Ito medyo pang long-term to.
It can be this value stocks or yung stocks that are mature companies. Mostly you can see them in PSCI, the composites. We have the blue chips, yung let's say Ayala Corp, SM Investments, those names. And yeah, for them, what they can do kasi is they can profit year in, year out. So whether on a crisis, they can manage to post earnings, and on a recovery or a rebound stage, they can also shift or rather, they can earn pretty well, whether on a good or a bad year. Hindi ganun ka volatile yung earnings, or it cannot really post steep net losses on an annual basis.
So parang ang nakuha ko doon, for starters, you may want to look at companies that are constituents of the PSCI or the Philippine Stock Exchange Index. Yung nabanggit kanina ni Justin na blue chip stocks. Okay, then as you get used to investing, medyo nagiging komportable ka na, then diyan ka na pwede tumingin sa mga second liners. Not sure if you can go deeper to third liners. Siguro kapag nandun ka na sa trading aspect. So that's investing for you guys. So now let's talk about trading. Okay, so what is trading in the stock market? Jacob, really, what is trading? If you can briefly elaborate or explain. Ano ba ang trading?
Well, basically, you're profiting from the spread. So, well, in the Philippines kasi we cannot short pa, di ba? So basically, you profit from your entry, which is your buying, your cost, and then your selling price. And then basically trading is if you think that the stock has a good setup to move in that time frame that you are expecting, then you will enter that position. Kasi basically trading and technical analysis, contrary to fundamental analysis kasi, the purist in technical analysis say that everything is reflected on the price, and the market price, that's it. Diba? Whatever are undervalued, the price will say if you're making money, and then ibig sabihin tama yung decision mo. So basically that's trading. You profit from the momentum.
So yan ang yan ang tinuturo sa atin sa technical analysis. First thing that you will learn in technical analysis is the price discounts everything. So kung purely technical ka, tinitignan mo lang price action, no? And if you're a trader, diyan ka lang din tumitingin price, the indicators, if it's telling you na okay, you can buy now, or you should be letting go of this stock.
Yes.
Then you mainly look at the chart.
There's money flowing, heavy volume, alam mong it's being accumulated. Tapos, pag alam mo namang, sobra, grabe yung benta, parang there's something wrong. There must be something wrong. Diba?
Okay, so with that, is trading really for everyone? Or, teka lang, baka you need to take a step back and study first. Baka mamaya, hindi trading for you.
Actually, a lot of people like trading because it's exciting, di ba? Mabilis Minsan 10%, ngayon 20%, 30%. But in reality, even though it's very exciting, it's not for everyone. Number one, you have to, ano bang ginagawa mo sa buhay? Like if you're busy running a business, di ba, you're a full-time employee, that's 8 to 5. maybe
Mhm.
doing day trading and swing trading is not for you, kasi you need to devote time, you need to study that, and then you need to be monitoring the price movements during trading. So it may not be for you, but if medyo mas mahaba naman yung horizon mo, like kaya mo maghawak ng 3 weeks, 2 months, magbabay ka lang ngayon, di ba? Tapos magbebenta ka, baka pwede. But generally, no, sabi nga nila, there's a saying that 90% of traders lose. But the 10% who can make it can do pretty well.
Nako, yan ang kailangan nilang malaman, no, if they want to become traders. How to become that how to be part of that 10%, no, Jacob?
How to be part of the 10%. Because honestly, trading is that, you know, it, especially when you entered the stock market on a bull phase. We have seen this past few years, kasi a lot of the new traders, a lot of the new investors, kakapasok lang nila sa market, hindi pa sila nakaka-experience ng decline prior to COVID. Kasi pataas lang lahat eh. So
Yes,
you're thinking, ang dali naman ang daling kumita sa stock market. Pero nung nagkaroon na ng mga downtrend, you know, that's a good wake up call na it's not always going up. Diba?
hindi lang nila na-realize na it's not really easy to trade, but kung minsan naghanap pa sila ng sisisihin, ano? Bakit
Yes.
naipit yung investment ko? I guess, no, with that, maganda din siguro na while if you want to take advantage of volatility, no, in the market, dahil tumataas, bumababa, and ikaw yung mainipin na gusto mo nakakakuha ka ng returns ng mas mabilis in the short term. You can also look at the charts, of course, pero at the same time, since wala ka rin namang oras mag-research, then baka naman pwede mong kunin yung mga research recommendations ng broker mo. Tama ba, Justin?
Tama yun, John. And I think marami sa participants nga natin na they're trading in the stock market. What I don't know is if ilan yung brokers na, if they're using one online broker, since marami nga ngayon are still working from home. So baka on the side, they do trade. And si Jacob as a traditional broker, yan, may mga clients yan na sinaservicean, and yun, nakakabigay siya ng research reports from their in-house research. So yeah, for those who have their online brokers, you can do just a few clicks lang naman, yung ma-access mo yung research tab, whatever online broker you're using. And yun, I think most brokers naman provide daily newsletter where you can see how the market performed during the previous day, what could be possible stock plays for the next trading session. And if you have more than one online broker, you can compare yung research reports and yung recommendation nila. For example, itong stock na to, buy yung isang broker, then yung isang broker buy pa rin. So you gain more confidence na investing in that stock would derive profits in the long run.
Okay, so that's a good insight that you shared, Justin, ano, na hindi lang naman limited yung mga clients natin to opening an account with just one broker. So meaning they can have an account with Unicapital and at the same time have an account with AP Securities.
Yes,
And then
exactly.
compare.
Yeah.
That's actually that's normal for the type of clients that I service, kasi they deal with huge volume. It's normal na they have a number of brokers.
Ikaw personally, Jacob, do you do that? While I understand at this point, ano, that you're a trader, your practice is highly technical, meaning you really base your decisions or even recommendations on the charts. Dati kang research eh. Do you also sometimes, so say for example, the chart is telling you to buy. The indicators are saying you should buy. Do you do a confirmation? Parang, hey research guys, tatap mo muna. Ano sa tingin nyo?
We do have our research team naman eh, no?
Uh-huh.
So of course, dahil may background din nga ako sa fundamental, although I really prefer following the charts, hindi ako, as much as possible, I won't dabble with yung mga companies na it's not really earning well, di ba? Or alam mong wala talagang laman. Kasi hindi mo naman na kailangan ng madaming analysis pag isang tinginan mo doon sa balance sheet ng company, alam mong ang laki ng deficit, you know that it's not the type of companies that you should be long, di ba? There. Yes, we consult with our research. Yun nga lang, ang pinakaiba lang kasi, since I think same as Justin, no, yung mga coverage no kasi is really geared towards servicing the more on the institution na kumbaga the big the big company. So hindi masyadong nako-cover ng fundamental research yung mga some exciting mid caps. Di ba totoo yan? Alam ni Justin, it's not usual for an analyst to cover an under the radar not so much heard company.
Mga flavor of the day.
Usually by the time matapos mo yung research report mo for that, tapos na yung move, yung cycle.
Lumipad na.
Oh.
The ship has sailed. Okay, so with that, Jacob, gaano ba dapat ka-active ang isang trader to be doing relatively well in trading?
Actually, again, I will go back to what I said earlier. It also depends on your time. Kasi to be honest, if you don't have time, hanap ka na lang ng magaling na fund manager kasi you also need to devote time. You need to study what you're doing. Especially kung gusto mo talaga mag-trade, talagang magkaka-tuition fee ka. So you need to devote time. So if in terms of gaano ka-active, I think there's no correct answer for that because that will depend on your personality. Like ako, I'm not as patient para hintayin ko yung recommendation ni Justin, but I'm not as impatient para naman magbenta ako kinabukasan. Parang ganun. It depends on your personality And of course, on your level of ano bang ginagawa mo sa life. Like, if you're managing a startup business, you don't have time for that, di ba?
Okay, so if I ask you this one question, how would you answer it? Paano ba mag-succeed sa trading?
You need to devote time talaga. And then, well, I think one of the most common overlooked and hindi to na-highlight is it's really risk management. It's really risk management. Kasi anyone can buy It's easy to buy. It's how to keep your losses. Kasi inevitable na magka-loss ka So, in order to be successful in trading, kailangan yung average ng mga losses mo is much lower than yung mga tinitake mong gains in the long run. So, your ability to manage your risk is super, super important in trading.
Okay, so very insightful discussion. We're getting so many insights from our guests, si Justin and si Jacob. So I'm sure our audience is very interested to know yung mga analysis methodologies na ginagamit ninyo. For you, Justin, ano usually ang mga ginagamit mong analysis methodologies?
First to start, if may kino-cover kaming company, first the available materials publicly, yung mga company filings nila, you can see it in the PSE Edge. But if you want to do some deep diving, pupunta ka sa website nila, then under their investor relations, makikita nyo yung quarterly company presentations or even yung annual reports. And from there, yung resources na yon, we integrate it in the financial model that we do and we update. And during quarterly analysts briefings where the top management discuss how yung performance ng company nila, we also try to integrate, let's say may guidance sila for our revenues for the succeeding quarters. Yun, we try to put it in our forecast to derive with the stock price and the recommendation. So yung mga financial modeling we do, ito yung mga medyo technical na, yung mga discounted cash flows, dividend discount model. So yeah, yun among other things.
All right. So guys, if you have the time to learn all those methodologies, Or if you really want to learn that methodology, pwede kayo mag-enroll sa aming CSSC kasi tinuturo yun doon. And well, syempre, if you don't have the time, well, you can at least start looking at the research reports provided by your stockbrokers. And I like that Justin mentioned PSE Edge because really that's where the information is made available firsthand. And for our retail investors, yung PSE Edge mobile app is available for download. It's free information right at your fingertips. Okay, so that's our fundamental guy, si Justin. Si Jacob naman, what methods do you use sa trading?
Well, for me, I'm a classical technical analysis guy kasi. So I just, support and resistances and then the basic patterns. I like to keep it simple. So some of my favorite patterns are like the cup and handle, yung mga ganun, rounding bottom, flag. For shorter time frames, is there's a bull flag, I would get in yung mga breakouts. So yun, that's basically, and you can again, you can learn that. I learned my first phase of that back in 2007 in the first batch of CSS in Ateneo. And then there's also a lot of online materials and books that you have to learn it first, and then you have to take notes what's working, what's not working, because sometimes also the market condition is yung style mo might not work for certain market conditions. Like a breakout trader like me, hindi siya ganun ka okay pag sideways yung market. Kasi hindi trending yung market eh. So, medyo hintay lang ako, 'di ba? Ang magagaling sa mga sideways market is yung talagang mas shorter yung time frame. Yung trader, 'di ba? Yung mga momentum traders. So you just have to know your style also. You have to know what style fits you.
Understood. So in this market, ano bang nakikita ninyo? Justin, Jacob, last question ko na to before we go to live Q&A. Medyo na pa overtime tayo, napasarap ang kwentuhan, Ano ba to? Are we gonna be trading sideways for the rest of the year, or is this a breakout market? Your thoughts, Justin?
Yeah, I think we still need to look at the catalysts, such as faster vaccine rollout, and then how the government would further reopen the economy. And the good thing is that for corporates, they came from a really low base from 2020. As I mentioned nga, some even incurred losses from last year. So kung i-compare natin on a year-on-year basis, mababa yung 2020. So they have the capacity to really grow their earnings because mababa yung pinanggalingan. So yeah, that's the things that I'm looking for a solid rebound if ever those catalysts will play in.
Okay, so wait for the catalyst, tignan ba natin kung magiging effective ang vaccine rollout and if we're going to achieve herd immunity by the end of the year and hopefully go back to normal, open the economy and keep things going, or at least go start on our path back to recovery. That's Justin. What about the charts? What are they telling you?
Well, technically sa atin, if you look at the chart on a 1-year perspective, we're just sideways. But at least what's the the good thing that happened recently is yung downtrend natin in the few months was already reversed. So now our market's pretty strong. And then kasi when in technical analysis kasi we don't try to like iniisip mo na agad kung ano yung December. We see it as is. So we adjust to whatever's happening, and then ang sa akin lang kasi is if that's why you have to really take a look at it kasi yung sinasabi ni Justin yung sinasabi ni Justin na lahat ng good news and catalyst, by the time lumabas lahat ng mga news na yun, believe me, the market already moved kasi the market is always ahead. So the market is anticipatory. It doesn't really, it doesn't trade based on what's happening right now. It is trading on what is the expectation of what's gonna happen. So if we think that the vaccine rollout will be good, and then doon mag-move yung market.
Okay, so with that, parang nakikita ko, there's that if you want to have that shorter gain, you need to have that parang lakas ng loob, na to start betting on the market now, with the hopes of those catalysts mentioned by Justin really working out. Pero on the flip side, to be devil's advocate, paano pag hindi nangyari?
That's your risk management. That's your risk management.
Okay.
So, importance kasi in trading, number one, super important is you know how to cut your losses. Recognize your mistake. If pag ego yung pinairal mo, nako, patay ka. Maiipit ka.
May mga bagay, yan yung cut your losses, maganda rin yan na matutunan ng mga traders natin. May mga bagay na kailangan yung i-let go kasi kung masyado nyong hahawakan, masasaktan kayo lalo in the long run.
Masasaktan kayo.
Thank you to our guests for being so accommodating and gracious this afternoon. Isa na lang ang hihingin ko sa inyo before we end our session. Medyo nag-overtime. Some parting words or key takeaways from our guests. So let's start with you muna, Jacob.
So for me, trading, it's guys, it's a serious business. Like, you should take it seriously kasi you're putting your money. So you have to devote your time, you have to put in the effort. And then don't forget about the importance of risk management. Pera yan eh. Pera yan eh. So there, basically that's what I can impart.
Ganda nun. Thank you, Jacob. And for you, Justin, some parting words?
Yeah. For me, always be in the know. Of course, if gusto mo talaga mag-research sa stock, you'll find ways and time to invest some time to read and to dive deeper into those. And first of all, before you trade or you invest, you might want to map out your strategy. And kung satisfied ka na sa gantong gains, you can settle for that. But if you want to go deeper, basta as long as it's within your bounds. And yun nga, to access more resources, you can open an account with us, utradeph.com. Yeah,
Ayun,
that's it for me.
Nag-plug na si Justin. And of course, if you want to open an account also with AP Securities, yung mga websites po ng ating mga brokers, available yan sa PSE. So just go to the PSE website, you go to trading, and then you select trading participants. May online, may traditional, and then we'll redirect you to their websites. Of course, we want to make things easy for our clients. So thank you very much to our resource speakers. Sana in the future, I still get to invite Justin and Jacob, probably individually naman, to talk about your kanya-kanyang mga specialization. Siguro we'll do one technical analysis session and then one fundamental analysis session. Game ba kayong dalawa?
Sure.
All right. Well, with that, I would like to thank again our participants, and thank you, Jacob and Justin, for sharing your insights with us this afternoon. Of course, if you need to get in touch with the PSE, our contact information is 632-8876-4888. You may also email info@pse.com.ph for general inquiries. If you have investment-related concerns, you may also email investing@pse.com.ph. If you need to get in touch with my team, please email academy@pse.com.ph. Visit our websites for corporate information. It's www.pse.com.ph. For disclosures, it's edge.pse.com.ph. Investing materials are available at the Academy website. Follow us on social media. We are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And of course, don't forget to watch our recorded webinar sessions posted in our YouTube channel. And while you're at it, please hit the subscribe button para naman dumami ang subscribers ng ating YouTube channel. All right, and of course, download the free PSE mobile apps for information right at your fingertips. The PSE Edge mobile app is for you, and whenever there's an IPO, the PSE Easy mobile app is the app to use. All right, and with that, we bring our webinar to a close. That's another insightful afternoon session brought to you by the PSE Stock Market webinar. So this is John Garcia. I will see you again next time. Wishing you all a happy weekend.